I would actually love to yield my time to give you guys a chance to respond to these questions. It is very frustrating to have these questions asked and not get any immediate response. Is that possible?
Well, our preference is, what we're hoping to do tonight is create time for everyone to share questions. And then at the end, depending on how much time we have, we can share more information, yes. But right now we tried to share, and our intention was to try and speak to some of the things that came up tonight in our opening statements, but we really want to create as much space as possible for the public, for everyone to be able to share questions or comments, at least for starters.
Well, it'd be great if we could actually have a conversation instead of just a period of statements, because I think that would help us hear and feel exactly how you guys are treating this, instead of the point earlier about just written statements. But I guess my points, and I'll get to them here. What's it going to take for the city leadership to stop the madness of shifting things from one spot to another? And I'm not saying this tongue in cheek. I'm asking, like, legitimately, what is it going to take? Will it take my child being physically assaulted coming home from school? Will it take another child being kidnapped? Will it take violence on school site? And one thing that makes me so incredibly frustrated is hearing our mayor make a comment about the lack of violence amongst the groups that the city is managing. I think that is so negligent to assume that these folks with mental health issues that you guys have brought up, with drug abuse issues that you've brought up, that they're stable enough to coexist within 500 feet of a school without any sort of conflict or violence. The other point I would like to make, and Officer Costello, I don't know if you've got this, but I would love to know what those statistics are around crime in the current mitigation site, and if the new laws within the state of Washington are now going to prevent tracking that and enforcing that even further. And then lastly, for Mr. Burney and Mr. Staley, I've heard the Boise decision referenced so many times when it comes to homeless response. How much money have we spent over the last 4 or 5 years since that decision was made? And how much money could we have spent towards fighting that, and maybe taking a more humane approach that doesn't harm our community, that doesn't put our kids' safety at risk? It seems like we're focusing solely on that, yet the problem's only getting worse. So at what point do we just say enough's enough and take our fight somewhere else?
Hey, evening, how y'all doing? Through my research, according to the 2021 point in time information you guys have provided somewhere through the city council, there's over 1,100 homeless people in Thurston County alone. And based on the fact that I've heard numbers as high as $3 to $6 million a year to operate these tiny homes, just based off of $1 million, you can spend $100 a night at a hotel and house 27 people, where they have heat, they have running water, they have security, they have a lock on the door. So how can anybody think that doing the same thing Seattle and King County is doing, which they're spending $100 million a year on homelessness, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse? I have a child at St. Mike's. Besides that, there are 2 other schools in the area that I don't believe the parents are aware of this. The information is not getting out there. This is unsafe for the children. It's unsafe for the businesses and anyone that works down there. And with that said, if you guys are just willing to pump money into the homeless industry complex, somebody's getting rich and the homeless are not being helped. I yield the rest of my time.
I also have 3 kids who go to St. Mike's. And look, I understand there's no doubt that this is a really complex, complicated issue. Didn't happen overnight, and solutions won't happen overnight either. My concerns continue to be just 2 major concerns. And that is, obviously, the number one is the safety and security of my kids. And the second is the actual long-term solution that this move actually provides. So in terms of the safety to my kids, a lot of folks have already said what, kind of what I'm going to try and paraphrase here. And that is that the mitigation site downtown and the management within it did not seem to be the big problem. The challenges, as I could see, not only going downtown, but speaking with businesses downtown, definitely seem to be the periphery of that particular spot. And the question of how the city plans to prevent these same issues that currently happen downtown that made this situation untenable, how they're going to stop those from happening at my kids' school on their football field still has not yet been answered. And the city has done a lot of reimagining of policing, which makes me very hesitant and makes me concerned that answers will not go called if they're not of a certain kind. The second thing is definitely the long-term solution to this particular issue. We continue to just sort of build tiny homes and create sites that folks can stay at. This particular site is really miles away from the food bank. It's miles away from councils, from more than just one counselor on site, I believe. It's really not very close to the resources that a lot of folks who are experiencing homeless need. And the previous Plum site was a transitionary housing site. What is this site? Is it low barrier? Is it high barrier? And is it transitionary? So there's some of the questions that just continue sort of not to be answered. And it does make for folks who would probably help you in this situation hesitant to do so. And that's what I have.
Thank you.
That's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day.